Hi guys, Jason here at Jason's Creative Adventures, and I'm in the Days Inn in Eagan, Minnesota. I just got through my second day of orientation here at Bay and Bay, and things are going good. Tomorrow we should be done by noon, and I should receive my truck and be probably going out on my first load, or be heading home for a couple of hours. But I'm going to tell my dispatcher that I just need to go through the house, but I don't need to necessarily stay there. Only need like a couple of hours there to like see the kids and then grab a couple things out of the garage and then get going. That's pretty much all I got to do. And then, so I just got to make arrangements to head that direction. And um, we will see. So things are real good for the most part. Um, I think I was the only one that got out and looked during my driver's test, at least from what it sounded from the guy that was giving me my road test. I He gave me extra points because I got out and looked. I got out and said, "A real truck driver gets out and looks," and I got out and looked, went back there and saw because I actually did wasn't sure because I couldn't see on my passenger side, and I thought it looked like I might be just a little bit tucked over to that side, so I wanted to be sure. And so that went well. I mean, it was a pretty simple. They just wanted to make sure that you looked like you knew what you were doing and were confident in yourself. And I definitely made a good impression on the road tester. Today, I kind of asked a couple of questions that I think I might have alarmed the safety guys, but I wanted to ask him anyway. I wanted to ask a question like I tried to get a straight answer out of the safety guys because at Allen Ritchie, if you hit 75 miles an hour, you immediately get an alarm. You get like a couple of seconds to slow back down, like 10 seconds or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. But if you hit 75 miles an hour, there is a message sent to the company saying that you're going over a speed. And I was trying to ask this guy in charge of safety, okay, and all, if you're like in Utah or Texas where there's a speed limit of 80 miles an hour, but you get on a steep downgrade that you suddenly hit, and I don't know how many of you know what that's like, where you just barely hit a downgrade, you're like, pew, and you don't even, because as an over the road guy, you don't always know the road you're on. You don't know if you're on roads that you take all the time, you know that you're about to hit those roads. But as an over road guy, you don't always know when you're about to hit that grade and that you might hit that. And if your um, truck goes just 67, 68 miles an hour, you can grab 5 to 7 miles real quick when you hit a downgrade, especially if you got a heavy load. That governor isn't going to stop you from going over that governed speed if you have weight. And if you're a guy who's just been driving for several hours on regular roads and you haven't hit any real big hills, you've hit some bunny hills and stuff, you're going to hit, you're going to eventually hit a hill and you've been trotting along for several hours and you're just not expecting to hit a hill yet. And it doesn't look like you're going to hit a hill. And you all of a sudden, you come around a curve or whatever. Sometimes there's those hills that you don't see coming until you're practically on top, going downhill, especially on roads that you don't know and you're, going the speed limit or whatever. And I just want to know, is there a speed that if I hit that speed, even if I'm in doing the legal speed limit, let's just say that it's 80 in that state, because it could be Utah or Texas, and there's other states that have high speed limits on some of those roads. Most places are 65, 70. some are 75, but most are 65, 70. And then there's other roads that are only 55, 60. But I just wanted to know, should I hit a particular speed, even if it's the speed limit, and I'm going at the governed speed, and I've been driving for several hours. All of a sudden, I hit an unexpected hill that I couldn't see coming because it's a road I'm not familiar with, and I hit that grade. Is there a speed like that that will automatically send a signal to the safety department saying I'm going this speed, even though it's perfectly legal? I haven't set off any things with the camera or anything like that. I wanted to know that. And they wouldn't give me a straight answer until I asked them the second time. The one other guy that's been doing orientation, who's kind of in safety, but he does orientation, he told me 70 miles an hour. If you never go over 70 miles an hour, you never get a call from me. There you go. Bye. Because he wanted me to go catch my shuttle to get back to the hotel. But I wanted to know that. Um, and then I'm kind of old school. I don't like using that adaptive cruise control crap, even though it's going to be good to get that incentive here at Bay and Bay, which I never dealt with that. Being a company driver at Ellen Ritchie, we just drove, and they never really told us to worry about that crap. Here at Bay and Bay, they're more worried about it. So it's a thing that I'm going to have to, now that I'm back into the real world of trucking, I'm going to have to deal with stuff that I haven't dealt with in several years, because I don't even think K&B concern themselves as much with that stuff as Bay and Bay seems to. I think maybe CRST worried about some of that stuff. They worried about idling, and they made a big deal. I mean, even when you were at hot Texas or cold temperatures, they still, oh, if you need to idle your truck for whatever, you need to be going in the truck stop. Just like, if every truck driver went in the truck stop just so they could save on idling and hung out, that truck stop would be packed. You can't do that. And Bay is more like, yeah, if it's really, really hot or really, really cold, then yeah, you're going to need to idle your truck. But, you know, depending on what the condition is, I might be more willing to turn my truck off now. You know, I've got I got some things to relearn that I already learned before, but I haven't had to deal with for several years. So this is something that um, a lot of you guys might be dealing with that I haven't had to, because I've been fortunate enough to not have to worry about it. So, um, anyways, I think I'm doing good. This is the second day of orientation. Tomorrow I'll be done at noon. I'm hoping to get a Freightliner, because I don't care for those trucks with the narrow cabs. I don't know if the Kenworths here have those narrow cabs or not, because I've heard that some Kenworths now are being made so they're just like the Freightliners up front, where it's the wider cab up front, but I do not know. So I just don't like those trucks with the narrow cabs, like the Peterbilts and old school Kenworths and stuff, like what I had back at Randy's, that really sucked for backing. I dealt with it. I contended with it. I was able to do it, but um, I just used to Freightliners. It's pretty much been my go-to semi-truck through most of my career. Now at CRST, I did have a Volvo, which was an 8-speed, and they were really nice inside. Had plenty of space, luxurious inside. Had drawers where we kept canned goods in. Had a nice area place to put a microwave right behind the driver's seat in a little compartment, and there was another little compartment on the passenger side, and all kinds of places to put stuff. Um, it was awesome, and um, the bottom bunk turned into a table, kind of like um, a booth style table like you would have in your restaurant, so you could sit there and um, do stuff if you wanted to. You could eat or whatever, get on your computer and work on stuff. If you didn't want to have to sit on the sleeper style bed and sit there like that, you could actually make the table up and sit at a table if you wanted to. You just had to move the two pads up, and they converted into the seats, the cushions for the seats, and the middle part came up and clicked in and latched into the back wall of the truck. I don't know how many of you are have experienced being able to do that, but it's pretty nice. But all that time you just too lazy to stop and just do it. But it depends on what you're trying to do. But so I have been pretty spoiled being at Allen Ritchie. Just it's too bad that they're kind of going downhill and losing all those runs. I hope they survive. I hope they are able to adapt to survive and start hauling something different or figure out a way to stay in business, and hopefully they can come back. And who knows what's going to happen with the post office with all this stuff going on with all the cuts and everything. Hope my ex co-driver, um, she finds something. She hadn't even locked anything down yet when I talked to her on the way up here the other night, so she wasn't worried about it. But if she doesn't hurry up and lock something down, she's going to start, you know. Luckily, she said she had about a couple thousand, $2,000 or $3,000 in savings. So to each their own. I got to worry about me. I got a wife and kids to worry about, to support, and to try to make my mortgage and house payments and car payment, my mortgage payment, my car payments, and cell phones and all that crap. And that adds up. So I got to worry about me. I mean, I don't want to be so selfish and inconsiderate to other people, but I got to worry about me, my wife and kids first. And then if I'm able to help other people, then great. I don't mind helping other people within the realm of reason, because some people we can't help unless they're willing to help themselves in a number of situations. Um, but yeah, it was real interesting being in orientation. It's one of the few orientations I have been at where we weren't losing people day by day. Like at CRST or Senior England, you show up, you got hundreds of people starting a new class. By the end of the first day, over half the people are gone. By the time half the second day is over with, half of those people are gone. By the time you're in the middle of the week, you kind of get down to the real numbers. And all the way up till the end of the orientation day, to the very end, to the day that you're going to get ready to go out with a driver trainer, for those of you that are new to truck driving. Um, when you did all that class stuff and you're new, becoming a new truck driver, um, you would see losing people every day for one thing or another. Sometimes, they'd come back and say, "Hey, we found this in your background. You sorry, can't work here because of it." Come back, and sometimes those guys would just leave for their own reasons because they heard something they didn't like, or they had to go home, like I did at CRST when I went there as a refresher. I had to go home because um, I had made the mistake of having um, like one of those ho ho pastries and some orange juice before we went in there. I had that for breakfast on that morning that we were just about an hour or two before we were going in to take the P test and physical, and they did that little thing, and it showed that I was dropping sugar in my urine. So they sent me home, which luckily it wasn't too far away from them. Luckily we had drove out. Well, luckily we had drove out there in our own car, so we would have it there, and it was only like um, roughly roughly a 2 hour drive, no more than three, out to Cedar Rapids to the CRST yard. And so we were to go home, went to the doctor, got cleared, and all that. And then we were able to go back. So that kind of delayed us. And so because it was going on with me, that kind of delayed my girlfriend, who I was there at the time too, because she had to wait for me so that we could try to want. They were trying to keep us together with everything so that we would wind up on the same truck together as team drivers when we were done with everything. We had to go out with different driver trainers, and we finally met up at the Fontana, um, California yard, and finally was able to get on the same truck there. And luckily, I was there first. I was able to clean up the truck first, and then we discovered there was a busted up window, and we had to go get a different truck. So we wound up having to clean out another truck. Luckily, that one wasn't nearly as dirty as the other one, but it was dirty. So you get those used trucks that other drivers have driven, and sometimes they're just completely trash garbage everywhere. They need swept out. You got to clean the windows. You got to wipe everything down and get new mattresses because you don't know what's happened in that truck. So you want to get new issued mattresses. So I've I've done this all before, man. So if I'm just sitting in here, I'm watching Teen Wolf on the hotel thing here. Here in a little bit, I gotta go down and get my food. They've been providing lunch and dinner every night. I haven't had to eat any of my food that I brought with me, but I am eating my ramen noodles right now because I want to eat it. Plus, I'm afraid it's going to get crushed in my bags because I'm going to try to get. Um, I've got my two pillows. This bag is now empty, so I got to figure out how I'm going to condense that down. If I can put that into one of the other bags to alleviate one bag, great. I brought almost everything I would need for the truck when I get it tomorrow. There's just like a couple of things, and there's a couple of things I don't even own yet that I need to buy down the road, which my wife might get for Christmas. But I got um, this little bag here. I got that duffel bag. I had to get that bag. Um, that green bag right there is my laundry bag. Two pillows. This big hiking bag. It's like a duffel style bag that has the ability to convert into a backpack. The bottom of it has these things that come out, the straps that you can hook up to wear it on your back if you need to. I do got a regular hiking bag over there. And then I got a little, like, kind of like a man bag style Scipio camel bag that I got from the Love's truck stop a few months back before we got switched over to our different way of running at Allen Ritchie before we found out we were losing our jobs. So and then I got my laptop bag. So I've got to figure out how to condense this stuff down to make it easier in the morning to take on the shuttle van over to the Bay and Bay so that this isn't such a bitch to carry. So I've got to figure out what to do. I got my cameras, I got my GoPro, which I don't have all my GoPro stuff. I was trying to get everything in a hurry, and I got my SD cards, my handy cam, my GoPro, my dash cam, which I couldn't find my dash cam holder, which I think I have it somewhere. It's just in my stuff somewhere, and I got to figure out where that is. And I think I may have figured out where that is, but anyway, I've got my hammer, I've got my safety vest, I got my gloves, I got my air gauge. The stuff that's at home that I want to get is well, in my one bag over here, I have one of those little butane or propane style camping deals that you screw the thing on and then you got to spark it to light the flames on it. And it's a little one that you use for camping for low impact camping for hiking. And then you got those little fold up style stainless steel um, camping um, pans. Uh, let's see, like let's see, this one's coming apart. Here's one of them. It came apart because the thing on it isn't very good, but yeah, I got that. But that's not the good one. The one I really like is this one that snaps shut a lot easier. And then I can use that to cook stuff in and use the gas stuff, which I can just stop at Walmart and get more of those fuel things. But at home, I've got like um, a Coleman stove that's about yay big that I can cook on. I can get regular size pans and cook steaks and bacon and eggs and whatever. But what I really want is a um, hopefully I can find an electric cooler that's not going to burn up the tips. Those things, just they always put a cord with those plastic tips and they melt, and because they draw so much power, and eventually they melt themselves. And there's like usually a little fuse that's in that thing that goes into your DC plug. The DC plug on it at the end of that cord usually eventually winds up melting, and then you either got to buy a rewire kit for that cord, or hopefully the electric fridge that you have is one that disconnects, unplugs, physically unplugs, and it's not hardwired to it, because a lot of them are hardwired in. If you get one that it disconnects, then you can reorder those. But what do you do for those day or so in order to reorder those? And then how long is it going to take you to get routed by your home or wherever you are getting that thing sent to? Where are you shipping it to? Because I don't know if anybody's ever shipped things to a truck stop. Oh, I know I'm going to be here on this day. I can ship this here. I don't think you can really do that. You might be able to ship it to a home terminal somewhere if you know you're going to be there at a certain time. But in most cases, you're just running around the country and you don't know where you're going to be 3 days from now. You just know you're on this load and you're going to this spot and you're stopping probably these fuel stops. And um, you may not know what you're doing, what load you're running after the one you're on currently. In most cases, every company runs a little different. Sometimes they tell you what you're doing afterwards. Sometimes they don't tell you till you send your empty at shipper thing, and then they empty at consignee messages, and then they send you that next load based on what you put in your macro info for how many gallons of fuel you got and where you're at. And then they figure out what you got for your hours of service on your clock and all that. And then they figure out, okay, well, and then they give you your next load. It's a lot of times how it's done. Sometimes they try to plan you out a little far ahead, but a lot of companies don't try to plan you out too much because anything can happen, and they don't want to have to backtrack that and have to reschedule those any more than they have to, because it's just more work. So, I think everything's going good. Here in a little bit, I'm going to get this all condensed down. I got to go down and get my food here in a few minutes. Here it's 6. I don't know what time it is now. Um, yeah, my clock won't come up on my phone until I'm off this video. But I know it was only a little bit after 5 when I started this video, so I should be good. Um, anything else? Um, um, it was kind of funny that the guy who gave me my road test told me that whoever went before me hit something with the trailer. and they had to contend with that. So I don't know who that was, but apparently somebody wasn't watching what they're doing. I took it slow. When I got on my driver test, I wasn't in a big old hurry. Took my time. I made sure to signal early. I made sure to ask where we're going. I said, I'm not doing anything unless you tell me to do it first. I'm following your instructions. I'm not going to do anything without you telling me to do it first. You tell me to turn left, I'll turn left as long as it's safe to do so. So I told him, you tell me to do it, I'll do it. You want me to do a pre-trip now? I'll do it now. If you want me to do a pre-trip later, we'll do it later. I'm gonna do whatever you tell me to do. You're the one giving me the test. You just tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. I'm not going to do more. I'm not going to do less. Is exactly what I told him. I'm going to do what you tell me to the letter. And he goes, okay, I appreciate that. And we wound up telling each other trucking stories, and it sounded like he had been, done plenty of screw ups himself. We kind of shared a few things with each other, stories, and so it's kind of funny. They have super signals on the trailer. I've never seen super signals on a trailer before. Not that I've ever noticed. I've seen super signals on the drives, but I don't know if I've ever seen super signals on a regular semi trailer like a 53 footer. That was really weird because I was backing up and the tires, like there's a big old overhang over the tires, just like that is just really weird. It was messing with my brain a little bit when I was doing that backing test. I was just like, why is there like this overhang? And then he told me there's because there are super signals, really. So very interesting. And then their fifth wheels have not only the handle that you pull, they also have a little like a bolt as a secondary thing that comes out the front. It looks like a bolt with a washer on the front that pops out when you release. And it is a secondary feature of locking that fifth wheel pin in. And so things are going to be different because different equipment, some different features on those equipment. And I'm going to have to start doing macros again. I'm going to have to start doing things I haven't had to do in a while. So I'm going to have to start doing sliding tandems, which gives me an opportunity to do videos on that. So I just got to be real careful because there's cameras in these trucks that you can only do like one swipe on your screen. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to work around these cameras and like I did at Alan Ritchie's because there's things I like to do while I'm driving and like I'll listen to YouTube videos and I got to unlock my screen and you're not supposed to be allowed to like swipe your screen while you're driving and I usually have to unlock my screen and do stuff so um, I'm sure I can work with it and do it. So a lot of safety crap. I think some of it's kind of overdue kind of stuff, but we'll get it. I think everything will go fine. I know what I'm doing. I'm just um, this other guy in class showed me this app called Hammer that I never heard before, and I know that there's like a Trucker Pathways that also does routing for trucks. I think I might download that. So, um, and eventually I'm gonna have to get a cradle. So, I gotta I gotta be able to watch what I'm doing, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens because it sounds like they're kind of stricter on some stuff, but their cameras don't pick up as much. But there's differences. There's some things that they're worse on, and some things they're not as bad on, and every company out there is just different. And until you start actually working for that company, what they tell you in orientation and tell you all this stuff, you got to pay attention to, listen to everything. And sitting in orientation, there was guys falling asleep. There was guys just asking a lot of dumb questions. And I asked a couple of dumb questions. Some of those were on purpose because I just wanted to see what kind of answer I would get. But I got get guys that just it's just like, were you not paying attention at all? Because they have literally gone over this stuff multiple times, and you're asking a question that they literally went over a dozen times in the last day and a half. And there's one guy in particular that just kept popping off with really um, with questions about stuff that they had already covered, stuff that they should have already had done. Going, oh, I didn't get this, I didn't get that, and it's just like, you were here, you were sitting right over there, and you did not. You were not paying attention. You got to pay attention in this orientations. I don't care how long you've been driving or how much you think you know. You got to pay attention in these orientations because on everything, even the smallest things, things that you already know, you still got to pay attention to that stuff because there might be something different that's going to come back to bite you. So you really got to pay attention to every little thing. And I am. I stayed off my phone. Normally I'm on my phone constantly. I left my phone down. I was charging my phone and I was charging my backup batteries. I have like one that plugs into the wall. And it was the only thing I have to plug my phone in. And um, right here, I got this battery backup that plugs into the wall. I got a second one of these at home. And then I got this battery backup, which I'm charging this through that. And then I got a solar one that's in my bag that I was in that man bag thing that I was carrying around. And I was charging that up. So I had those so I could keep my phone and my headset charged for when I needed it. So, um, all right. I think I'm going to end this video here because I'm just rambling on. And I'm going to go. It should be time for me to go get my food or go hang out and wait for my food. And I'm going to post this video and I'll go hang out, get my food, and then I come back up here with my food. I might hang out with those people down there because just good to have a good rapport with the other drivers. But you just never know how many of those are going to be around a month or two or more down the road. You know, the people you see in orientation, you may not ever see them again. So, and there was guys last night coming back from orientation buying liquor. I rode back in the rental car. I already returned my rental car. They said it needed to be returned by the next day by 11 o'clock yesterday, the first day. And I returned it in the morning before we went out. I went and returned mine. I think I was the only one. And everybody else kept their rental cars. No one else had returned it. As far as I could tell, I was the only one. I was the only one that returned their rental car when I was supposed to, when I was told to. And I was the only one, as far as I could tell, from the way that the guy that gave me a test. I mean, I don't know for sure. There might have been a couple of other people, but I guess um, it sounded like I was one of very few people, if maybe the only one, maybe there was more, that got out and looked when I was doing my backing test. So, and he gave me extra credit for doing that. And then, so it was cool. But these guys that, when I was riding back from the orientation yesterday, and went in and they stopped and got um, Jack Daniels and Coke and this other stuff, and we're heading back to the hotel. Some of them were popping the caps off them as soon as I got in the car before I even drove across the street to get into the hotel, and they're already dipping in, and I could smell it. I was sitting in the front seat and I could smell it behind me. So, and the guys were going to try to get me to drink with them, and I just like, no, this is like my job interview, people. We're still, even at the hotel. If they find out that you guys are doing that stuff, you're probably gone. And I don't want it. I mean, I wasn't going to do that. And I tried telling my wife, oh, yeah, they're doing this. And she just kind of went off, well, you better not be doing that. Just like, no, I'm not. I'm telling you about it because I'm telling you I'm just avoiding those people. They're nice guys, really cool guys. Really, everybody's cool. Everybody's nice. Everybody's cool. They didn't try to make me. They didn't get pissed off when I said no. I just said, No, I'm just not much of a drinker, dude. And really, I'm not. I'm even if even if even if it wasn't about my job, I still probably would have said no because I've just never really been a drinker. And I quit smoking like 9 years ago, so I don't smoke. I don't do nothing. The only thing I do is try to stay away from soda, which is a little harder to do. And I drink coffee, I drink tea, water, and at home sometimes I steal cans of soda from my wife, and I need to get back on my keto diet so I can get my weight down because I'm starting to get up there. My blood pressure is going up and all that. So, all right, I started to ramble again. Bye, guys. I gotta go check on my food. I don't know what time it is, but I better get down there. Bye. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, hit the bell, so you're and hit all on the bell so you're notified of all my next videos. And um, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like, and leave any comments or questions that you might have or whatever. And I will try to address those as they come in. Bye, guys. Later.